Okay, hi, hello. So, in this video, I'm going back to my roots. Oh god. And I'm redrawing some Nightcore like art that I specifically remember very vividly, and that I know they're like iconic. At least the second one's iconic, but this one I just remember really strongly. So, funny story, I guess. So most of this is just me recreating the art in my art style. With this one, her arm gets wonky because I use the liquefy tool, and then I don't realize it until just now. So I fix it. It's fixed now. It's just not fixed in the video. But for like, well, my roots, I guess, as an artist, because that's what I'm mostly going to talk about, because I feel like I've gone over what I actually do in my process like 100 times. So we're gonna, at least for this first one, since it's very simple, I guess, I'm gonna talk about like where I learned how to, like, my influences, I guess, as a very early artist, and how they still it's still like is there and around in my brain to this day. So now imagine Miwa from early 7th grade. I am basically a 6th grader, right? Now, my best friend had just shown me what creepypastas were. Blew my mind. And then they were like, Miwa, you know what's the coolest thing ever? Have you heard Nightcore? Have you heard the Daycore? And it opened up the floodgates. I had never watched anime before that point. I liked the way anime looked, but I wasn't like interested in it. And funnily enough, the only anime I watched in middle school was Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. But my art just started to revolve around anime, because Nightcore it's sped up and higher pitched songs to kind of like, I think it's the goal is to make it sound like an anime character is singing the song, or like an anime girl singing the song. Essentially, like sped up songs that you'll see where it just says sped up. It's like Diet Nightcore. It's, but a lot of these drawings would have cute anime girls on them, and this influenced me. I still don't really draw men. like because all I saw were cute anime girls, or anime girls with like ridiculous like proportions, which I didn't redraw any with the ridiculous proportions, and like cat girls, and like things that, like, if I wasn't into Nightcore at the time, I probably would have never cared for drawing, because, or if that wasn't my only exposure to the anime art style, and I was trying to recreate that as a kid because of those videos, and because of how I thought they were, and it's so like impressive. I like the drawing that's in the corner right now. I thought that was Picasso. Motherfucking Picasso. There's some others that I was gonna include in the video that I tried to draw once when I was a really early artist. I ended up not being able to include that in the video. I ran out of time because these are all full drawings and they took me a chunk of time, but I was getting such a kick out of redrawing the Nightcore. I might do this again just because like it's funny. It's like full circle for me, because that's really how I got introduced to this art style. And even though my art style is a little bit different than how it was for so long, it's like a circle. You always go back to the roots of art, and you just circle over and over and over again forever. And I'm circling. But yeah, for this character, I just copied the outfit. I forgot to add her cat pin, which feels like a cardinal sin, but I'm too lazy to go back and do it. So we're calling it done. Her hair didn't make very much sense to me, neither did the skin tone. Because now that I do now that my art style isn't like, oh, another thing that influenced my art for a long time, anime characters are a lot of them are like so white. It's not even like, oh, it's just like, it's like I love anime, but like when you color drop their skin, like a lot of characters' skin, it's like, oh my god, this person is paler than like where the sun doesn't shine, and it's kind of wild. So when I was color picking, because I color picked for this character, I had to fix her skin tone and her hair tone because they were too similar to each other for my liking. But I did try to keep the colors as similar as possible. It was just something that carried, and the paleness, it carried through my art for years upon years until it carried all the way until I started rendering my art. Obviously, I draw characters of different skin tones between that time. But a lot of my default for a character was paper for so long. Again, and I'm pretty sure this is why, because like that's what I looked at, that's what I listened to, and that's all I listened to actually at least in 7th grade, purely that and creepypasta stories that were read out loud, because I was dyslexic and lazy, so I wasn't gonna try hard enough to read. I'm still dyslexic and lazy. I have a thing on Google where you highlight it and it reads for you. It's great. But anyway, that was the first drawing. Another thing I changed, I guess, was I gave it one strong independent light source, because that's like my favorite thing to do for like drawings. I love the one strong light force. It's become easier for me to do intense lighting than it is normal lighting, because I draw so much intense lighting. Alright, so for this next song, it is the Nightcore cover. So I don't know which video, but I know it's from Angel with a Shotgun, Nightcore. And if you had a proper middle school, you heard this. You heard this. You had to hear it at least once with that image. That image, because that image like still is in my mind. Another thing I'd like to say, which I also thought was funny, I thought that, like I said, this art was Picasso, fine art, the peak. And you know, for a long time I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't hide my hands. You know, I want to be better at drawing hands. I want to be like peak artist, right? And then it's funny because as a beginner, what I thought was peak artist, they were hiding hands, which is funny. Because now I don't really, even though I'm kind of bad at drawing hands, I still try not to hide them, because like you can tell when they're like hidden sometimes. Like if I can get away with it without it being obvious, I'll do it, or if it's like a part of the character's design. But other than that, I really won't do it. For this drawing, I'll talk more about the actual process this time, because this one took me a little bit longer. So for this drawing, okay, first thing, the colors. I color picked directly because this character had pretty like decent like contrasting colors, and like colors that weren't gonna like melt together super easily. I had problems with that hand though. And then one thing I changed about this drawing while sketching was I made the wind, instead of just in one direction, I made the hair kind of like the wind is kind of all over the place and flowing in a bunch of directions. I thought, like, mostly because the canvas size I was working on, I didn't have a lot of real estate to blow all the hair in one direction, and I wanted to keep that wing in there, and then I didn't want the hair to be going off the screen, so flowy. Also, I love drawing hair that flows in all directions all the time. It's fun. For the outfit, I kept it the same, and I like I said, I remotely kept everything the same. I had to darken it up multiple times, but other than that, pretty good. For the, like, yeah, I blended out the wing because it's like a shadow, but it's like a melty shadow. But yeah, I also, instead of the hand covering the face, I did it more like the hands like wiping something. Like I don't know, like punch, face, punch. No, it's bleed, wipe. But there's no blood. Because there's no blood in the original. I wasn't going to go that crazy. Other than that, everything's pretty much the same. I also hid the hand. I was definitely not being lazy. I definitely was just being loyal to the source material. And then I just did my normal process of my line art, and then my line art, and then I selected all around it, and then I filled it in with gray, and then I did a clipping mask, and then I duplicated that layer, and then I did a clipping mask, and then I did my color plan, and then I started to color after I did my color plan, after I got the wings situated. So after I did that, I also did the wing, but I ended up going back in there and duplicating it and darkening it because it was not dark. It wasn't like dark enough. It was way too light. It really like needed it. It really needed to be darker because in the reference picture, it's a shadow. I can see the bricks. It's like more like a see-through like phantom wing. But I just combined it with the brick to make my life easier. Also, a lot of these shadows, when I was looking at it, they're very, very purple. Which, with the yellow, obviously makes sense. But it makes a really, like, dynamic shadow without, like, working too hard. And I don't know how, because usually when I use purple for shading, it feels like it's, like... Sometimes I love purple, but sometimes, depending on the lighting, it feels wrong. So, to, like... See, like, purple with yellow lining. It's pretty cool. It's like, and this art, both art pieces are on a technical level, both very good. I just kind of did this to not because I'm better or because I fixed it, because I just, like I said, this is kind of how I started to draw. It was like a full circle moment for me. And I wanted to do some iconic ones or at least one iconic one, because I probably listened to like super obscure, not all super obscure, but like some of them. And I tried to make sure I got like full pieces and not just character art by a sound thingy. Because I remember one specific art of that pink-haired yandere character who I cannot remember the name of to save my life. With I hope you die in a fire, Nightcore. And I remember that. I remember listening to that a lot. Like, I think that was one of the songs I listened to at least once a week. And that's where I was at 13. So, yeah. Now that I've done the base color, or not the base colors, but my color plan, so I know what colors I'm adding, I'm gonna just color pick those colors and then fill bucket them in. Both of these drawings actually didn't take me very long, because especially the angel with the shotgun drawing, it didn't take me very long because there's not very many accessories. There's not a foreground. There's no like perspective. It's literally just a character standing there with that's very plain. Like, there's no accessories. It's just a girl in a uniform and black hair. Which honestly makes my life easier made my life easier while drawing this, because usually I end up having to render a bunch of accessories and things I don't like to render, and that tends to increase my drawing time. Because accessories add a lot of character to your character, because it's like, oh, how do they accessorize? And so even when I draw my OCs, it takes me a long time. But these drawings didn't take me very long. For the first one, the outfit was really plain, even though there were accessories, and for this one, the outfit's really plain and there are no accessories, even though the background kind of was like, me trying to replicate the background was kind of difficult. But it wasn't like super hard once I figured out what the person probably did, the original artist. I wasn't able to find either of the original artists. I didn't look too deep, but because I just found the Nightcore video and took screenshots of the art. But this was just, I don't know, this was like a nostalgia thing. Oh, a new thing that I do with my art, you noticed in the first one probably because it's more up close. I paint the eyelashes. I think I already talked about this. Because my style is going a lot more in the rendered and like painty direction, I think rendering the eyelashes helps bring it more together and look more cohesive. And same thing with like the eye blurry thing. I think it just helps everything look more like blended. I also think the eye blur thing is just kind of like, it's cute. So yeah, I tried to make sure to copy the lighting that's in the original piece. So that shadow that goes diagonally down, because she's a little bit farther away from the wall, the lines don't match up like super perfect. But I also wanted to make sure like certain parts of her were still like lighted, like the arm and some of the face. I really like how this turned out. It looks very glowy on her face. I really like that. And then I did the hair. I did my strands. And then I added the highlights and the shading and all that other jazz. If you're new here, I've explained my process like 500,000 times, so I'm a little... Maybe I might make a new tutorial video if I have the time anytime soon, but of what? That's up for you guys, because I don't know what I would make to a tutorial yet. I had an idea, but then I completely forgot it. So, yeah. For this shirt, what I did was I tried to use, because the shirt, it's like a yellowy white, gray yellow white color. So I tried to make sure to use grays, like yellow grays, that kind of look more like, they look more green, but it kind of gives off that the shirt's like an off-white, because the shirt's, I think it's supposed to be an off-white. And then I added in some yellow highlights, like the sun is shining really hard down on those parts, because I think this lighting looks like it's supposed to be very like intense. Same thing with the black skirt. I added highlights where the top of the pleats would be, and shadow where they wouldn't. I used a very dark gray brown and a black in some spots, because the skirt's supposed to be black. I added some noise, and then I think that's about it. I added my watermark, because that's always I do that. I always add. If you're an artist and you post your art online, you always add a watermark. So yeah, so you don't like hopefully don't get your art stolen. But thank you. This is the end of the video. This is the final piece for the angel with the shotgun. I really like it. I feel it's so like weird and nostalgic looking at both pictures, and like my little 13-year-old self would like, their mind would be exploded everywhere, you know? Like the fact that I could even like recreate something I thought was like Picasso. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.
I smoke too much, I drink too much. I tell myself that I can't stop. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly now. That I can't stop. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly now. We could see clearly now.